RuBru means face-to-face in the Urdu language. If you are a Muslim, the RuBru-ftf series can help you find your bearings on where Muslims stand today in relation to their recent past. All viewers may find many of the misconceptions floating around, corrected by the information the RuBru-ftf series supplies. This brief presents an overview of the Muslim's contribution to knowledge, being currently brought back to sight. RuBru Brief 7, 8 and 9 Present European Acknowledgement: the Muslims' influence on the European Renaissance and the European thought. This brief presents another form of Western acknowledgement. To control its size, the video contains much fewer quotes than the vast number available in the literature.
The history of systematically ignoring Muslim contribution to knowledge and bringing it back into view is quite intriguing. The scholars and researchers who lead the efforts to recover this contribution are the ones whose earlier generations systematically put it out of sight. An attempt to Europeanize knowledge is a part of the recently discovered history of science. The narrative that science and the scientific method largely came from the ancient Greek world has been a common belief of the Europeans for centuries. Recent discoveries in the history of science tell us a different story. They demolish the narrative that science appeared and developed only in Europe. More importantly, they highlight the original contribution to knowledge made by Muslims. The mainstream Western scholarship today is in line with the view John William Draper, died 1882, expressed in The Intellectual Development of Europe. I have to deplore the systematic manner in which the literature of Europe has continued to put out of sight our obligations to the Mohammedans. Surely, they cannot be much longer hidden. Injustice founded on religious rancor and national conceit cannot be perpetuated forever. The Arab has left his intellectual impress on Europe. He has indelibly written it on the heavens, as anyone may see who reads the names of the stars on a common celestial globe. Today's scientific literature is full of information on the high quality and the staggering quantity of Muslim contributions to science. This change of view is part of a regular stream of publications of the Western scholarly community, which contains a substantial amount of reliable literature on the subject for scholars and the general reader. To keep this video brief, we restrict to representative quotes from Western scholars. Robert Brifault, died 1948, in his book Making of Humanity writes, "What we call science arose in Europe as a result of a new spirit of inquiry, of new methods of experiment, observation, and measurement, of the development of mathematics in a form unknown to the Greeks. That spirit and those methods were introduced into the European world by the Arabs. Arab astronomy did not forestall Copernicus or Newton, though without it there would have been no Copernicus and no Newton." Robert Brifault further says that it is highly probable that but for the Arabs, modern European civilization would never have arisen at all. It is absolutely certain that, but for them, it would not have assumed that character which has enabled it to transcend all previous phases of evolution. In short, in Robert Brifault's words, there is not a single aspect of European growth in which the decisive influence of Islamic culture is not traceable. Nowhere is it so clear and momentous as in the genesis of that power which constitutes the permanent distinctive force of the modern world and the supreme source of its victory, natural science and the scientific spirit. Prince Charles, King Charles III of the United Kingdom, speech at the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, 1993, says, "If there is much misunderstanding in the West about the nature of Islam, there is also much ignorance about the debt our own culture and civilization owe to the Islamic world. It is a failure which stems, I think, from the straitjacket of history which we have inherited." Arnold Jabe Toynbee in his A Study of History, 1934, says, "The West has been the ungrateful recipient of a vast wealth of knowledge from the Islamic world, whose scholars preserved and expanded the intellectual achievements of antiquity." With quotes like the ones above, one can go on and on. The truth seems to be progressively attracting a huge number of rational minds who respect Muslims' contribution to science. We conclude this video with the following words from ChatGPT on the subject. In recent years, significant efforts have been made to revive and highlight the contributions of Muslims to global knowledge, particularly in science, philosophy, medicine, and the arts. Academic institutions and museums have played a key role in this revival. Universities worldwide have expanded Islamic studies programs, emphasizing the contributions of Muslim scholars such as al-Khwarizmi, mathematics, Ibn Sina, medicine, and al-Farabi, philosophy. Exhibitions in major museums, such as the British Museum and the Louvre Abu Dhabi, showcase Islamic scientific manuscripts and historical artifacts. Media and digital platforms have also contributed to this resurgence. Documentaries, books, and online courses have been developed to educate the public about the rich intellectual heritage of Muslim civilizations.